Mr. A here, saying, how y'all doing?
Yo! Are you ready to rumble? Or should I say tumble? Cause I don't stumble, I fumble like a cracker pie gumbo.
Welcome to the Rumble, presented by Pain of the Claim. We are here every Wednesday talking about all of the crap that goes on in this industry. And here we are once again with a fresh new pile of stuff to get into. And I'm excited. Brent, how's it going, man?
I thought you're good. I definitely thought you were going to say something else.
I can do that again if y'all want me
A
to.
fresh new pile.
Crap to get in.
I just thought you were going to say something else.
I did too, and I couldn't figure out what I wanted
I'm
to
doing
say,
good. How
so
you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Well, I'm Jeremy Lavelle, known as the Mouth of the South, joined always by the Beast of the East, Mr. Brent Hooper, and continually at my side is the beautiful, the one, the only, Babyface. Commonly referred to as Donna, sometimes the Donna. Or D. Yeah, I mean, we couldn't do it without her. Anything that you hear on the show that sounds cool at all is not me or Brent. It's
me.
The Donna, for sure.
Yeah.
So, man, we're getting... first of all, I just want to say thank you to all of our listeners. We're getting a lot of feedback from you guys, and thank you so much. We're glad that we're helpful.
Thank you very much.
And just keep it pouring in there. And, man...
Tell them the text you got today.
Yeah, I actually did. I shared it with Brent earlier. We were talking on the phone about the guy that was on a way to his inspection that was listening to episode 3 about limited leakage and seepage. And no matter how hard I try, I want to say limited leakage. I always want to say that. And I think I said that 4 or 5 times. But the limited leakage and seepage endorsement, when we got into endorsements, Brent, he found that really helpful, and he was going to listen to episode 4 on the way home, and evidently it was so good he has nothing more to say. So I don't know, either he retired, I'm not real sure what's going on there, man, but hey, man, shout out to you guys. We appreciate you guys listening and tuning in. We love your feedback. We love that we're helping some of you. I think that's fantastic. And there's just been, lately it's just been really busy and crazy. Has it been busy for you, Brent? I mean, just like this onslaught of stuff.
Yeah, man. Onslaught of stuff and changes and, got to keep it, I always say, humping and bumping.
Elbows and assholes. Yeah, I get it.
So, so we're hammer and a chisel.
I don't know.
We got. No, I mean it's been good. Busy. We got a couple initiatives going on, which is fun.
Speaking of Kool-Aids and cupcakes, it's really more Kool-Aids and wedding cakes. Donna and I actually decided to get married. Well, we were already married, but we did it in front of God and everybody, friends, family. And we kind of dovetailed that with an event that was also her birthday, guys. It was her birthday. It was Donna's birthday. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Donna and her birthday.
Thank you.
Birthday. Happy birthday.
So for those of you about to turn 40 and all of those insensitive people that are going to throw you an over-the-hill party because you're 40, man,
40.
I am getting there, and if you will let me finish, I will get there. Those of you who are turning 40 and throwing your over-the-hill party, that is not over the hill. I promise you will know what the hill feels like when you actually turn 50. I don't recommend it. Getting old is a young man's game. Can you back me up on that, Donna?
Confirm.
So that's why I was saying 40. Does it make more sense now? Does it make more sense now that
I thought you were delusional.
No, I am not delusional.
Because I gave that up a long time ago.
I am damn crazy at times, though. But anyway.
So what do we got on the docket?
I think we're going to talk a little bit about setting the value of the loss. What do you think, Brent? All right, man.
Let's do it.
Round 1 starts right after this. The Pain of the Claim is looking for sponsors, and we would love to promote a business that provides services or equipment to public adjusters, restoration companies, and roofing contractors and general contractors. Examples would be like safety gear, roofing-related products, restoration equipment, payment services, CRMs, reporting services, expert services, anything like that. We want to help you tell your story and get you together with the people that really need your help. So give us a call. We can get your name out there and we can grow with you. The carrier's estimate. Well, often that's the first estimate we get, isn't it? It is the first girl to the dance. They're in her dress and waiting for somebody to dance with her. That's for sure. I can say that about the carrier's estimate. It's often the first one.
I had dinner with my grandmom tonight.
It was her birthday too, wasn't it?
She's 80. Yep, it was. Mama Rose, right? So I had dinner with her, and it's funny. Real quick story. She's like, what's that thing you guys are doing? Well, it sounded like you were in a car or something. I was like, no, I didn't have a damn mic first couple episodes. Anyway, she was like, well, what are you guys talking about tonight? And I explained in the context of a loss. I said, Mom, so, you come home one night, God forbid, and you have a bunch of water in your house. And, you have to go through this ridiculous process known as the claim process. I said, who writes the estimate for those repairs? And her answer was, well, the carrier would. Or as she said, the guy that would come out from my insurance company. And I thought that was really interesting. It's like, and I explained to her, I'm like, in our little slice of the world, I told her, I said, the reason we're talking about it is because there's a lot of opinions about it. So anyway, yeah. They are the first ones to the party, usually. At least
they really are.
And it's interesting. Why do you think that is, Jeremy?
I think the first answer is often the answer that's heard. Do you know what I mean? I think that has a whole lot to do with just sort of, it always seems the first answer often is regarded as the right answer. I guess I'm not real sure that that's true. And if that thought holds water, but I know that's the behavior that people often go with. And I know that I've been asked by a lot of people, is like, why is it so much different than what you show me? What is it that they're trying to do? And I'm going to tell you that it's not by and large that they're trying to be honest. And I wish,
really quick. I just wanted to agree with you. on that. By and large, whether I'm talking to contractors, homeowners, business owners, when this part of the discussion comes up and I, explain like, hey, the paradigm is backward. The fact that your insurance company came out and wrote an estimate, while that's all well and good, and we'll get more into that. I'm like, that's not really the way that it's supposed to be per se. Right? So there's a great misnomer here. They're the first ones to the party. They came out, they wrote you an estimate. No, that's not what you're owed. No, it's not really their job to determine that for you. Well, then why do they do it? Which brings me back to the question that I interrupted you while you were answering. Then, why do they do it? And you said, well, it's not so they can come out and,
it's not so much.
But continue. Sorry.
Right. Exactly. So kind of what I am saying, this is my opinion. This is not absolutely rooted in a whole lot of research, but for those of you who know me well, one of the things that I like to do is ask the desk adjuster, I see here that you guys have provided an estimate. And I ask that question knowing that there's only two right answers. There's only two right answers. One, they have a right to conduct an investigation, and as it pertains to that investigation, they have the right to write an estimate. I don't have any problem with writing an estimate. What I hate is navigating the claim with it. Okay, they have every right to write an estimate and present it to their insured as it, they're insured as to what they think that the loss shall be, what should be, or in the neighborhood of, or whatever it is, an estimate. And then they write them a check based on that estimate. Well, the carrier figured something out along the way. Okay, so in Texas, one of the things we have is called a prompt payment statute. Okay, there are other states that have it. I'm not going to get into the ones that do have it because I don't know them off the top of my head. But we have a prompt payment statute that goes along the lines of something like this. Basically, once the carrier extends coverage, they have 5 days to release payment. 5 days. So the reason you wrote an estimate is so that you could release prompt payment to your insured per the prompt payment statute. Is we wanted to provide a prompt payment to our insured based on the loss that they suffered. And that's really and truly the only right answer that I accept from a desk adjuster. Okay, thank you so very much for that prompt payment. But by and large, that estimate is not rooted in anything other than a very rudimentary guess. You know what I'm saying? Because often the guy that they send out there, he may have some construction knowledge. He may not have some construction knowledge. The problem is that it is not a requirement for that job or the license that he holds to have any sort of construction knowledge whatsoever. And because I know,
even if he did,
even if he did, go ahead.
Even if he did. Even if he had single-handedly built 100,000 houses and drove every nail in every, freaking piece of wood. God, that sounded educated. My point is that he wouldn't be writing his estimate based off of that knowledge anyway. That's my only point. Even if that adjuster had been a contractor and built every, houses for his whole entire life since he came out of the womb, it wouldn't matter because he's not writing estimates based on that.
You're absolutely correct.
You know where I'm
exactly
going
where
with
you're
that
going
too.
with that.
It wouldn't matter.
Basically, I'm going to tell you, by and large, the carrier's training model here. And the training model here is it's not to teach them how to properly assess loss. They teach them how to estimate based on some general damage. So if you have drywall damage, for example, you are going to write to replace the exact square footage of drywall that is damaged that you can see. You are then going to seal the new portion of drywall, and then you are going to paint the rest of the walls one coat. So the new drywall has a coat of seal and a coat of paint. I want to be clear about that. One coat of seal, one coat of paint, and then all of the walls, to make sure that the color stays consistent, gets the same one coat of paint that the new drywall gets. Okay. So if you're lucky.
Lucky.
So they're going to replace any insulation in that. And that's basically it. And then you have a couple of masking line items to protect the floor. You might have some content manipulation. You might have some detaching and resetting of some televisions, or depends on what room we're in. But you've got some of these general labor items that prep the room for repair. Okay. And so that's the end of it. So they go in and they run these things called macros within their Xactimate, or they'll have bin items within their Symbility, whatever the case may be, the only reason I bring up both is because carriers, you've got multiple carriers that are moving to Symbility right now. You've got Liberty Mutual. I've heard Allstate will be switching over to Symbility. So for those of you who hate Symbility, you might want to brush up, because the reason Brent and I are talking about this right now is because you're going to have to be dealing with both estimating platforms in moving forward a lot more. And right now, these are rumors. These aren't guarantees, but Symbility's not going anywhere, guys. And for the reason you hate it is the reason they're picking it up, is because most people believe that Symbility estimates lower. I can get into a whole nother thing about why I think Symbility is a fine estimating platform, but you will have to have so many more line items.
Conversation for a
Yeah,
different
you'll
day.
have to have so many more line items to get it to work. But you're right, Brent. Thank you so much. It's a conversation for another day. But they're running kind of these general ideas, and they provide their adjusters with estimating guidelines that basically walks them through what to do as a standard operating procedure, whether it's a roof, whether it's siding, whether it's drywall, whether it's flooring, whatever the case may be. You're going to run into that. And they never tell them to detach and reset a P-trap, remove and replace angle stop valves. You've got to learn all of that kind of stuff. I have seen estimates where they remove and replace the cabinets and they don't address the countertops at all. And the desk adjuster has told me that's included in the cabinet. I'm like, well, it's not. Yes, it is. And okay, well, whatever. I don't want to argue about what's included and what's not included. All of you out there know that have any estimating experience that the countertop's not included. But I have seen these guys come through because it's not addressed in full. There's no nuance. There's no teaching them the craft. It's basically go through these steps and it'll spit out a number. And that's why you often see the number so small from the carrier's estimate. They've written it according to guidelines and they've done what they're told. QC is happy with it. They send it off to the homeowner praying they don't run into a Brent Hooper on the other end of it. Well, I don't know about praying because 87% of the time they don't. And on the occasion that they stub their toe against a Brent Hooper or a Jeremy Lavelle or a Jack Hanks or a Leland Kuntz, you know what I mean? They're okay with that little bit of a bruise because they keep on trucking, because for every one of us, there's 87 other people that they're not running into. So, it's just – go ahead.
Well, look, here's the thing. If we go back to the beginning, this is a great example. We talked about it briefly in one of the other episodes, but this is a great example of the insurance company treating the product of insurance as a service. See, this whole thing with insurance companies, this paradigm of insurance companies sending out the friendly adjuster who's going to come out and, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, so happy to see you. We're here to help. We're going to get this squared away. It's all a ruse. And then, next thing you know, you're looking at a 3-story fucking water loss and they get a $7,000, RCV estimate and a $3,500 ACV check, right? So, again, it's a great example of the insurance companies treating what is a product like a service. We're going to do all this. We're going to get out there. We're going to have somebody walk through and we're going to handhold you. And if you need anything, you just call this number right here. So that way, every time you call, you can talk to somebody different. And, again, that's the paradigm that we're in. And so without sounding like a bloviating broken record here, that is the narrative that we're in, and we've got to control that. And there are ways around it. And understanding that the carrier doesn't set the amount of loss is a good damn place to start. And whenever you get a claim, we're just realizing it and thinking about what it means. Who sets the value? And we're going to talk about contractors and public adjusters and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, that guy that came out a guideline-riddled bullshit estimate from Jump Street, or a gal or whoever, that particular person is not the person that sets the value of the loss in the claim process, regardless of what anyone on insert insurance company, regardless of what they tell you. They don't do that. And Jeremy, and you said earlier, yes, they have an absolute right to investigate the loss as often as reasonably necessary. And if producing a comparative estimate is a part of their investigative process and standard operating procedure, excellent. Go for it. If that is the insurance company's way of investigating the loss and perhaps keeping homeowners and contractors and us public adjusters, if that's a quality control or measure that they have in place to make sure that things are within striking distance, or for comparative cost analysis and whatever, but don't get it twisted. That Johnny, the adjuster from Insert Insurance Company, his job is not to tell any homeowner how much it costs to fix something. Not his job. And even if it wasn't his job description, he's not qualified, and that's certainly not what the policy says.
Well,
It's certainly not the policy
Absolutely.
says.
And I just want to button it up with this. The only reason the carrier should be in legitimacy writing an estimate is to provide prompt payment. There is no other reason. So understand, it's important for all of you guys out there. There is a reason for them to write an estimate, and it's to provide prompt payment, and you need to regard it as such. Thank you so much for your estimate. I appreciate you providing prompt payment to my client. You know, and that diffuses the argument about it. But now we're going to dig into it. And how do we come up with why this thing is what it is? Why is this thing? Why do we not use this thing? Okay. And so I'm going to dig into that, and that's probably going to be more in round 3 where I get into it, guys. So just hold on. And I promise I'm getting there.
Well, so I will piggyback the prompt payment thing, which is a beautiful point. Absolutely right. I don't have any sort of contrarian ideas around that. But I'll say this too. Sometimes we get like butthurt about the amount or the quality of or whatever. We get butthurt about what the carriers write. You know, sometimes we need to take into consideration the individual that's coming out and scoping this project and perhaps in turn turning around and writing an estimate. Look, if coverage is extended, take it as a good thing.
Don't take it as a bad estimate.
They confirm coverage. Yeah, it's one thing to poke fun or
and we all
acknowledge sort of the absurdity.
And by all means, while we poke fun, I don't have any problem with some water cooler funning around when we look at estimates and things like that. But remember this, while we'll stand around and poke fun at it, just realize what it is. It's not a bad estimate. It's an uninformed one. And that's the biggest thing that I need you to realize. And that'll help you have some grace as it pertains to dealing with some of these estimates that appear to be perfunctory. And it's not just always a lazy estimate, though sometimes I do think it is, Brent, really and truly. I believe that the estimate is lazy. And I do believe in times it's perfunctory. Most of the time, realize this, it is simply just an uninformed estimate.
Hold on. Let me get this last word in. And look, and it's not always like bad faith or some conscious choice by the adjuster to, try to get one over. Right? I just think that's important to get out there. The carriers have a responsibility to confirm and ultimately remit prompt payment. And no matter, and again, anybody that's listened to the show or knows me personally or has had more than one conversation with me knows that I'm no apologist for the carriers. I think it's just important to have, and I love the way you said it. If you are understanding what I'm saying, it will allow you to handle it with more grace, because sometimes I look at these really bad estimates and I'm just like, okay, this is perfect. This is a perfect situation. So anyway, it's food for thought at a minimum there. I mean, it was just like, look, it's not in these perfunctory estimates. Sometimes they're doing you a favor, and it's not bad faith. That's the part I wanted to get.
Yeah, it's like I can't approve this whole roof, but I can't approve one shingle, and let's go down that road and smile as they get in their car, knowing that they've opened up coverage. I think that's great. I believe that's true, Brent. I do. I think so.
So, anyway,
thank you so much, Brent. Round 2 starts right after this. When choosing someone to help with your online marketing, make sure you go with someone that has years of experience. Our good friend Sally at Thrive has over 20 years of digital marketing experience. She can build you a beautiful 15-page, sleek, interactive website, post on your social media platforms multiple times a week. She can do a video, an amazing CRM to manage and maintain and nurture your clients' text, email marketing, review generation, a business listing on 60-plus search engines, including 3 voice networks, a appointment scheduling, estimates, invoices, payment processing, and more. She will also create for you on Google, a Facebook page, and Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. If you need these for your businesses, she'll help you create those pages on all of those sites. If you already have these pages, she'll optimize them for you as well. Call or message Sally today. If you want to get started, you can reach her at 214-789-1651. Again, her name is Sally Brigance. Her number is 214-789-1651. And you'll also get a landing page the day you sign up. When you send her a referral that signs up with her, she'll credit your billing account. Logos are also available. And she also offers a lead generation service and SEO, search engine optimization, where she can guarantee you to appear on the first page of Google or your money back. It is spelled THRYB. And you can find my good friend Sally Brigance, and that's spelled SALLIE. Brigance, BRIGANCE, and she can be reached once again at 214-789-1651. I did that really bad. Hang on a second. Let me get the right bell in there. Round two. The contractor's estimate. I'd love that this is recorded. I'm telling you what. I mean, because sometimes when we go back and listen to this as we're editing it and putting together the final package, there's some really funny stuff in there that doesn't always make the cut. But I mean, we laugh about it quite a bit. So I don't know, man. That's why I'm glad it's a podcast. I'm glad it's not actual radio that we're trying to do, and I'm glad it's a podcast.
That's why we don't go live.
Because some of those rough edges is what gives it the charm, in my opinion. So anyway, round two. So we're gonna talk about contractors' estimates now, and I have never met a group of people that is more proud of their estimate, and rightfully so, because they're the ones that are going to be doing the work. So contractor estimates, I have found that contractors have gotten so used to playing the insurance game, they've kind of gotten away from like being contractors, in my opinion. Do you know what I'm saying? They try to start using Xactimate instead of, guys, just go bid the job. Just go tell me what you think the job should cost. I can write an estimate in Xactimate. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it, but they don't always have us to work with, but contractors are stuck trying to speak insurance carriers' language. And I think carriers have done a great disservice to their clients, forcing contractors to put it into Xactimate almost. And I know the policy doesn't say that, but if you think desk adjusters haven't said, we're going to need that in Xactimate, or we're not going to be able to approve this claim. So if you can't get it in Xactimate, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to have to go get it in Xactimate. And contractors are sitting there. And I know some of the very first jobs as a public adjuster I got was because a client needed to get it put in Xactimate. And they didn't know who else to call other than a public adjuster. And I think that's terrible.
Oh,
do you know what I'm saying? I mean,
look,
that sucks. You're asking them to be insurance adjusters, and then when they start acting like insurance adjusters,
then you hit them with
UPA and slap them down and hit them with UPA laws. I mean, what the hell do you want these guys to do?
Exactly.
Jesus Christ!
I mean, hey, we're going to need
guys,
you.
We're going to need
you.
Think for a second, I'm on your side.
Dude, I agree. It's the theater of absurd.
Which is on top of another cage match.
Hey, we're going to need you to itemize that. We're going to need you to tell me how much every screw costs. We're going to need you to break this down, describe that, do this, do that.
And then when
yeah, I mean, get the fuck out of here. But it's hilarious because then when these guys,
you, Brent,
dude, no, it's when these guys try to explain themselves, then they get their hands slapped with, oh, well, you're not a public adjuster. It's like, well, what the fuck you want me to do? You want me to answer your question? You want me to go get my PA license? Like, what do I got to do to get my damn estimate paid? Exactimate, what is that? I don't know. Exactimate who?
It's like, you asked me about the scope. You've asked me about the scope. I told you about the scope. And then you're going, oh, well, that's not covered. And you're like, okay. Well, okay, fine. It's not covered. It doesn't change the fact that it's still in the scope, and I'm going to have to do it in order to pull off what you're telling me. I don't know if it's covered or not. I'm not trying to argue whether or not it's covered. I'm trying to argue whether or not it needs to be done. And so I need you to understand, I'm not making this up to make this job harder. I am doing this because it's what's required to fulfill the scope that you want me to complete. And so they've offered up this stuff, and I cannot tell you how many times I've heard contractors go, we've tried to explain it to them. For whatever reason, they won't listen. Or they won't call us back, dude, or whatever.
Every day. And you know what? It happens as much on, what storm claims as it does freaking burnout. Or it's just like, for Christ's sake. Now, the thing is that stuff as a practicing public adjuster, that stuff, that's break your laptop worthy. When you're talking, well, we're going to need this itemized, and we're going to need, and we're going to need, and we're going to need. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here looking at an estimate while not written an Exactimate. I'm looking at an estimate. It's broken down. It's itemized. Labor, material, how many guys, how many hours, just all very, granted, I've seen some ones that are stupid, might as well be written on a goddamn cocktail napkin. But, I'm looking at a professional work product that would be delivered to a homeowner on any retail product, on any retail project. And then you got this, room temperature IQ individual on the other end of the phone saying, well, we're gonna require, no. You don't require anything. What does the policy say you require? A detailed estimate. Invoices, things of that nature. That's what it says. It doesn't say Exactimate. It doesn't say Symbility. It doesn't say SimSol. It doesn't say jack shit. Oh, and by the way, and I love doing this.
It often says itemized, and that's about I'm not aware of the itemized, estimating software. So I have never heard of itemized estimating software. It seems like a great name for some estimating software. But as for now, it's little itemized, and it just means I need a list of your labor processes, essentially how this all breaks out. I think that's reasonable. I think it's reasonable that you just, that you have to justify it, at least with labor processes.
Well, look, here's the deal. When contextually relevant, I love reminding them that their engineer, THEIR, their engineer that they hired and paid to conduct an inspection for causation and write a repair protocol, they didn't write their repair protocol in Exactimate. So why is the insurance contract? Why is the insurance contractor required to write their repair protocol in Exactimate? So your engineer can write a repair protocol / scope, not an Exactimate, but the insured's elected contractor, which they have every right to do, needs to write an Exactimate. Give me a break,
Brent. You're poking the bear. I want to warn you here because fine. If you don't want to write it in Exactimate, if you don't want to write it in Exactimate, that's fine. We don't have to have it exact. Just go ahead and send me your unredacted invoice.
Oh, I was hoping you would go there. Unredacted.
That's fine. You don't have to send me your unredacted invoices. I'll send you an unredacted invoice that's got my letterhead on it. No. I'm going to need your unredacted invoices from the subcontractors. And often we get asked for this. We need unredacted invoices from subcontractors, often when we're arguing O&P.
It's ridiculous.
We're not getting into O&P. Everybody settle down. That's like screaming, play some Skinner to a covered band, okay? We're not going to talk about O&P right now. Anyway, unredacted, and I mean, good God, you get it on O&P arguments, and I'm talking that is like stepping on a Lego in the middle of the night, and I just, oh my gosh, I get so angry at it because it is so obvious what they're telegraphing here. It's like, well, we're going to add it up, and we're just going to make sure OU gets 20% margin on this job, and it's like, look, you're not getting unredacted invoices, and you're telling me that it's a part of your business processes, but I can show you 19 places on this claim that you don't use that.
Yep.
Okay, step one, we've got an ALE situation. You got somebody on the phone with Holiday Inn Express. All right. I see here $189 a night. I'm a little confused about how you got to $189. So I was wondering if I could get the unredacted invoices off the Continental Bagels that we're going to have tomorrow morning. I need to see what you paid on those to justify, and go ahead and send over housekeeping's, financials as far as how much they're getting paid and what their benefits are. We're going to come up and see if we can come up with $189 a night, and we'll let you know.
Right?
I mean, what a joke.
Yep.
What a joke. No,
you know what?
This
would be really I'm just going to keep going down the road of hyperbole. And there might be some contractor who's freaking crazy enough to waste the time to do this, but literally drill down on every single minute, granular freaking detail of the process, administratively, production, all of it, just every waking second spent, and then put a dollar amount on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's laughable, Brent, that they're trying to somehow control the profit margin.
Yes, it's cost fixing or price fixing. I mean, look, I'm not an economist, and I don't want to throw around jargonized terminology, but it's like, you need to show us every single dollar. And, what's interesting is it's the homeowner's responsibility to prove their loss. It's the insurance company's responsibility to confirm or deny coverage. Right? If coverage is there.
That's correct.
If coverage is available and the scope, and that's a tricky word, but the scope's agreed upon, at what point does the insurance company step in and say, oh, well, that costs too much? And they use very vague words in the policy, like reasonable cost, and we, that can spiral into a conversation for a different day, but like reasonable cost, it's like, and look, I'll say this, because this is a very robust topic that can go a million different directions. I always think it's interesting when you apply. I hate what I'm about to say, but there's just some very practical truth in it. The 3-bid method. And for my restoration buddies, contractors, service providers out there, I know you hate me right now, but just to prove my point, I think there is something beautiful about that method. And as it relates to being a public adjuster and presenting a contractor's estimate, it is interesting, especially, look, the guys that I work with, they're fair, they're honest, they're transparent for them, they're good dudes.
Sure.
They're not playing games, like, in large part, right? There's no game playing. It's like, hey, this is what it costs. It's a fair margin. Everybody's got to feed their family at the end of the day. But that 3-bid model is interesting. It's like, you got the one for 10,000, you got the one for 15, and you got the one for 17. Well, what's the right number? And this sort of scenario has been beat to death. Who decides the right number? Is it the insurance company's role to come in and say, oh, well, we're going to go ahead and pay 10 because that's reasonable? Is 17 reasonable? What is it? Anyway,
right.
Unredacted invoices. I mean, and I understand the counter argument too. well, you got this company over here that wants to charge 900 a square, and they got to charge 900 a square because they got 700 employees, and that's just what they charge. Well, we don't necessarily need to fucking pay that because that's just too much money. That's unreasonable. And I feel bad for the sad soul that's willing to pay that much, but us over here at Insert Insurance Company, we're not gonna go ahead and pay all that money for this roof that I used to be a roofer, and I could do the roof for 400 a square, and I was it's like, where's that line?
Oh,
at?
I love it. I'll let
Where's
the
that line
roofers
at?
know that are hiring. Yeah. Yeah. I don't, but Brent, that's a great question. Where is the line? I mean, because I don't want, look, I appreciate some places where the carrier might find the opportunity to step in and protect a consumer from being, price gouged or taken
Sure.
advantage of,
Sure.
just because I can appreciate that there is a level of concern.
They're not protecting the consumer, though.
Well, what has gone from protecting the consumer, in my opinion, and that would be the good intention behind inserting themselves into that and not just going, okay, thanks for the invoice. Looky here, it's under policy limits. Here's your check, less your deductible.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think the reason, I think the biggest reason they're in business is to collect premium and not pay claims. So I don't think they can get away from the advantageous nature of controlling some of that. And we can go all the way back to the McKinsey report where we talk about how all of that came to be. You got to deny more claims, delay the payment. I mean, all of this is the cost of money and where it sits. You know what I mean? So when you're dealing with billions and billions and billions, where it sits.
Yeah, and insurance companies make money. You make money by moving money. So every day it sits is a difference of a couple digits in a spreadsheet. And by digits, I mean commas, right? So one thing, though, with the contractors, it's like, look, I am a huge proponent of giving power back to the contractors. See, contractors call me all the time. It's like, hey, can you put this in Xactimate? And for those of you that don't know, I openly talk about the fact that I'm not an estimator, right? But the answer is sure. Like, we can get an estimate written up for you. But I've found myself over the last year and a half saying, dude, write it up. Write it up the way you want to write it up. If this wasn't an insurance claim, you guys sell retail roofs all day. Put together a retail bid. Make sure it's clean, professional, it's itemized, the way that you would sell a roof or whatever, the way you would write it up for anybody else in this situation. And that's what I've been advising them to do. And I will turn that product in. You don't need to write it in Xactimate, guys.
You really
are there procedural benefits to it? Yes. My point is giving power back to the contractors, because the point I was getting at is I don't control your price, buddy. I don't control your price. Xactimate doesn't control your price. None of the estimators that I work with control your price. We can consult with you on scope and stuff like that. But dude, put it together. What do you want to charge?
Right. And I just want to say, and I want to all of our contractor listeners out there, guys, we are behind you. Understand, we're here to aid you in getting accomplished what it is that you're trying to get accomplished. We just want to communicate. And so we have learned the carrier language and the carrier presentation. And we just kind of go and we're sort of your emissary, if you will. And we communicate sort of what is beneficial for the contractor in this given particular claim. You don't need to put it into Xactimate. You just need to stand behind what you're doing. And the more and more you do that, and we do come together and unite in these efforts, we will win these battles. They will change their practices because it will end up costing them money. I promise you that. So it's going to cost them more money to stand there and fight against us in court battles, because more and more people are going to be going to court over these kinds of things. The more that they try to dig their heels in, the busier the courts get.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. I know you want to go to the next round, but I don't want to be obtuse in, saying there's no place for Xactimate and Xactimate is used. I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is that there is nuance to this, and I am a proponent of restoring power back to the contractor as it relates to setting their price,
Absolutely.
preparing their estimate, and not playing to the carrier's hand. So
Absolutely. All Xactimate allows us to I've referred to it as this before, Brent, is it's a fallible crystal ball. I can see a little bit about what's going to happen in the future here, but I'm not really sure that the picture I'm painting is 100% accurate. I can't, I can guess, and I've got some general direction and idea, but it's not solid at all. And we won't know until we get into it. And thank you for the contractors that know how to pivot when they run into something that is not, that is unexpected. And you guys out there that are pros, we certainly appreciate everything you do. And we'll get into round 3 right after this. Public adjusters, listen up. On March 30th, there is a world-class training event that is going to be hosted by Velocity Claims and Jack Hanks. We're going to have guys like John Wood, Chris Corvell, Todd Stern, Andrew Saul. I'm going to be there. We're going to be covering everything that goes into the public adjusting business model, such as documentation, compliance, business interruption, branding, culture, the whole 9 yards. Do not miss this opportunity. If you sign up, all you got to do is click the link below. If you sign up before March 6th, you're going to get it for $299. But if you miss March 6th, don't worry. It doesn't go up that much. It's still just $399. Guys, don't miss this. Jack says all the time, experience matters. You don't want to miss this experience. Mark it down. Sign up. Do not wait. There's only 100 tickets. I believe at this point, there's already over 50 sold. So if you think you're going to wait to the last minute, do not think that it's going to be available. 100 tickets, 50 of them are gone. Please don't wait. Be number 51. And I can't wait to see what happens when we get the opportunity to educate you guys and really empower and equip you to go to the next level. I'm Jeremy Lavelle with Remedy Claims Consulting, and I'll see you on the next one. And we're back, and here is round 3.
The PA's estimate.
The PA's estimate. Yeah. So I'm going to jump off here first, if that's okay with you, Brent. I'm going to say, coming out of round 2, the PA's estimate, when you've got a contractor involved, really needs to be generated from that contractor and what he thinks, because that's a place where you get to advocate for the contractor and the procedure. And so we can talk about all of the different things and how a PA arrives at his estimate. But in this situation, that's kind of my first thought about the PA's estimate, is that it should definitely be fed and bathed in a contractor's opinion. What do you think, Brent?
I think consulting with a contractor on the process and the we'll say repair protocol is an absolute requisite. If you don't do that when a contractor is involved, if you don't do that as a PA, then what are you doing? You're just guessing. You're doing exactly
right.
what you're doing exactly what the insurance companies do. They come out and guess, and they go, well, this is what my guidelines say, or I used to be a MIT contractor, and well, this is what I would. Well, no one gives a fuck, because you're not the guy doing the work, or you're not the guy that did the work, right? So,
right. Yeah.
Again, and I'm if there are PAs listening, then I'm sure I'm going to get yelled at for this, but that's fine. If there's a contractor involved, why wouldn't you consult them? So that way you can write the scope and the repairs and make sure that the items in the estimate are accounted for, that are as close as possible to what the guy that's doing the work tells you is going to happen. See, I think that's where, as a public adjuster, we can really help a contractor accurately represent the scope of repairs through a vehicle like Xactimate, because there are labor actions and things that take place that are reasonably and necessarily owed for that some of our contractor friends just don't even, when they're thinking about the job, they're building the price in and they've got that price at the bottom. And sometimes that price is damn near what Xactimate spits out, but Xactimate represents it a little bit differently. And so I'll leave it there, but my short answer is absolutely. If you're a PA and there's a contractor involved, why would you not pick their brain and ask them, hey, how do you intend to do this? How long do you think it's going to take? How many guys? How many different subs? How many different crews? What part of regardless of what you think what order of things are you are you going to do the repairs in? Are we starting with the kitchen, the bathroom? We starting in the basement? We doing the roof? Like, what are we doing first? Again, I'm just giving examples, but I feel strongly about that because I think it makes a great deal of sense, and I just more often than not, it makes a ton of sense.
With the contractor, because they're the ones who are the expert on their side.
This is all about staying in your lane here. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of really what we talked about. Really, the theme of the show at this point, guys, has been stay in your lane. And I go back to the carrier adjuster who thinks that they used to be a roofing contractor, and we had, we were getting those things redone for 60 a square, and it's like, Bubba, it ain't 1977.
You had to give up and work for the carrier. What happened to that business?
Yeah, it's like, and it's like, here you are working for the carrier or whatever. So, I mean, that's a good question. It's like, I'm glad that worked out for you. Have you wondered why it didn't? Maybe have you explored that? Anyway. And it's like with the unredacted invoices, they come in. It's like, I know that how much it costs to put on a roof. I know, because I used to be it's like, great. I'll let all of those people out there that are hiring, looking for roof salesmen, that you have experience. But unless, you're wanting to send over your resume or something, I don't see why that's relevant. Right. You know what I mean? And it's like, stay in your lane. Contractors get drug into the adjuster or the adjusting of a loss more than they really ever wanted to be. And in order to survive, they've had to learn how to adapt to that and pivot into it. And then when they do and they become good at it, then they get smacked down with laws. And it's like, this is all because there's tons of lane violations. So public adjusters, hear me. You're no better and no different than anybody else in the process. Stay in your lane. You are not an expert in mitigation. You are not and if you are an expert in mitigation, then I don't have any problem with if you are an expert in the mitigation and you want to speak to that, but you better have somebody else that is corroborating that, because as a public adjuster, your experience as you being an experienced mitigator isn't primarily relevant here. Because
you're not doing the work. You're not doing the work.
And so you have to let that sink in, Mr. Public Adjuster, that has all of this experience. And I'm an experienced estimator. I can walk into a job and go, this is how much it's going to cost. And I'm generally in the ballpark within 5 to 10%. And that may be a big delta. I don't know, but I don't feel bad when I tell somebody it's going to cost $40,000 and it came out to be $41,500. Yeah, I missed it by $1,500, but I knew what it was going to cost when I walked through the door.
Look,
but I can't support it. And I like Xactimate to help me support that and it communicates. So I like writing things in Xactimate. And I think Xactimate is an amazing, powerful tool, but it is not a substitute for an expert.
That's right. There's the Xactimate is a powerful tool that can be very helpful for a litany of different reasons. One of many is, hey, it's that common language. And so, again, as a public adjuster, I view my lane as being the primary facilitator of proving the loss on behalf of the insured. Help them perform. Help them hold up their end of that contract to the best of my damn ability. And you know what? There's a lot of parts of this process that I feel very confident in and sort of loose and fluid. I know a lot more answers than I have questions, but guess what, man? And Jeremy, hopefully you'll back me up on this. And every one of these losses, I don't care how big, small, or indifferent, every one of them's got their own little freaking wrinkle. Every one of them. They all have their own DNA. And there is no one size fits all. And so that's where the lanes come in. If you know if you have a good handle and resolve and what the hell your lane is, operate within your lane and use the people around you that do the stuff for a living. Period. I don't care how much I know about roofing systems and this and that. Yes, that stuff helps me. It helps me frame my arguments. It helps me consult my clients. It helps me consult with our referral partners and all those other things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I can call whatever manager, whatever adjuster, whatever person over at the insurance company and say, well, this is this and this is that, and this is my opinion on this, and this is my interpretation on that. And you know what? It doesn't matter. No one gives a shit what my opinion is. Everything needs to be backed up by third-party source material.
Right.
Period. That's where I'm just going to end for now. It doesn't matter how much I know. And my bandwagon to your comment is like, look, there are PAs out there that freaking know mitigation forward, backward. It's like they've read, they got every credential, and that's awesome, man. I'm not taking a shot at that. I mean it. Like that is. They're public adjusters or, estimators that are just freaking wizards, man. You put them in Xactimate and they make the Mona Lisa out of freaking Xactimate. It's amazing. That stuff is really beneficial, but it does not negate the importance of leveraging the contractors. Some instances, I find myself on the phone with the subs. Sometimes the GC doesn't know the answer. It's like, well, hey, who are you bringing out to do this? Let's talk to them. Let's set up a quick conference call. Let's get a couple of these ticky-tack things ironed out. So that way, when we deliver this product to the carrier, we can make sense of it. It's not that I don't know, but it's a whole lot better if it comes from them. It just makes more sense.
Well, it's right. That's the point, is what we're trying to do is remove bias from the claim. By and large, that's kind of what we are, is the bias police here. And so you're trying to remove, and I mean, look, I have looked at contractors and go, look, guys, can you please explain to me why when I estimate this, I'm getting $10,000 and what is it about this? And you keep getting $15,000. What is it about this process that I'm not understanding? What am I missing here? Why is this? Because this is what this where are we missing here? And it's like, oh, it's because this, and this, and we have to do this kind of thing here. And it's like, okay, that was not what was communicated, and it's like, well, that happens on 95% of the jobs. What do you mean that's not been communicated?
So here's something that just showed up for me, right? I'm not suggesting that this is a practical solution in every scenario. I'm not suggesting that it needs to happen on every claim, but I've run into that where the contractor's at, whatever, insert number 50. And I'm like, how did you get there? I don't get it. Where we go back and forth, and what'll happen is I'll go through my scope report with the contractor. We will produce our own Xactimate. And it's like, all right, so Mr. Contractor, you're at 50. We have worked this 3 ways to Sunday to try to make the numbers make sense, and we're still sitting here at 35. But now we have a piece of work product to go back to the contract. Because, again, it's about getting it right. You want to be accurate. You want to be above reproach. And you want to make sure that you're representing the insured's claim as accurately as possible, right? So it's like, I've gone back to a contractor with a scope and been like, dude, like, what the fuck am I missing? What are, I'm working on this with my team. Like, where are we striking out here? And you know what? Sometimes the answer is it's not validated, and we handle that accordingly. And other times it's like, maybe it's wrapped up in general conditions. Maybe there's some crazy ass shipping charge that the contractor knew about that, this particular flooring is coming from somewhere out west and it's going to cost $3,500 to get here. That's not in it. Whatever. what I'm trying to communicate is sometimes the
He's
truth
like-
is readily available. You just gotta, hammer it out. So anyway, those
you're talking
dialogues
about
are
these
important.
nuances. They
Go ahead.
are, because you're talking about these nuances. You're talking about these nuances that are on every single claim. All of them have some flooring that's being shipped out of California because it's made out of African bubinga or whatever. And I'm not even talking about the specialized stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's all of these nuances that we deal with that cause these differences. Xactimate does not account for nuance. It
No.
doesn't. It's
No.
like this is a good sort of very square box cookie cutter kind of idea. And we can tell you that it's going to cost just about this kind of thing in this neighborhood. But trust me, you may find at the end of it all, we missed it a little bit. And,
Yes.
and they tell you that. It's like, look, it's going to boil down to the contractor and the estimator really communicating here to find the actual costs on this kind of thing.
If I'm involved in a claim and perhaps a contractor isn't involved yet, and I tell the homeowner and, hey, look, say you, Jeremy, you've been here 100,000 times. You get involved, you go in, you scope it, you do your thing, we settle the claim, we get the undisputed released. I always tell the policyholder, it's like, look, if the contractor's not involved yet, make sure that we get on the horn so we can do a scope review with the contractor. They can see what we're working with. Again, assuming the homeowner's on board with that. But the point is, get on the phone with the contractor. It's like, hey, look, we took our best run at this. It's a good start, right? Dude, as you're going through and you're costing this thing out, let us know. If there's a snag in there, let us know. And we'll do whatever we need to do with you guys to get it written up and get it squared away and things like that. So, Xactimate is a very powerful square, but what we see every day is that the claims are triangles. That was terrible. But
they are. Well, I mean, they're amoeba shaped is what they are. I know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't know, and you just don't know if you're going to be able to get it all to kind of fit together. And that's kind of what public adjusters do, guys. I mean, this is your lane. Is to go out and help all of the experts that have stepped in, assuming they're all honest contractors and they have a legitimate cause for charging what they're charging.
Yes. All of those assumptions
we're all helping
made.
them make sense of it because we are the claim emissary here. We're communicating on behalf of the insured. Often we're communicating on behalf of the contractor. And we want to make sure that these people that their message is being, communicated clearly to the carrier and as pertains to why. And if the carrier's answer is no, this is my favorite question, then what do I have to show you to get a yes? And because it's like, if you're telling me there's nothing I can show you, then we've really got a problem here.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And so that's kind of what I'm sitting here. It's like, well, the contractor is charging this and this is what he's saying. Well, we're not going to pay more than this much for it. Based on what?
Dude. Yeah. Well,
based on how did you arrive at that little decision? I mean, where is it? Because I have given you all of this documentation. So in order to refute or beat what I've got, you must have a much longer flipping list than I do as to why you're not, other than we're going to stick with our guy.
I love that one.
Or stand pat, or whatever the new thing was saying.
Well,
yeah.
Thanks for sending all that over. Yeah, we took a look at it, and we're going to get ahead and stick with our guy. Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that convenient? I mean, so does an amount of proof matter here? Well, we just don't think that looks like hail damage. Oh, it doesn't look like hail damage. So you're still telling me that if I show you hail damage, then it should be covered. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. So I've not shown you any hail damage. No, sir. Well, I must not understand what hail damage looks like. I do know that I've got a bunch of experts telling me that hail hit the area, including the weather report that you confirmed. Would you mind showing me what you think hail damage looks like? And I'll go take pictures of that at this location.
You had an adjuster tell you that because it came from you, that it's not good enough.
Right.
Like,
I have.
Basically, she said because you sent it in, it's not good enough proof.
That's true. I have had that. And it's like, you show me what hail damage looks like. And I'll go take pictures of that. Well, we don't know what hail damage. We don't have anything like that. Then how do you know what it looks like? Based on what? Now we're all the way back to you don't have any proof, dude. And it's like, and then you get accused of not respecting them as an adjuster. And I'm like, you're right. I don't respect you as an adjuster. I don't, because you refuse to adjust this claim. If you would adjust this claim, we wouldn't have a problem. But they don't want to do that. So, I mean, that's the end of that rant. So, again, public adjusters, stay in your lane. And the more that we stay in our lane, guys, I believe that we will help the others get back into theirs. So, man,
That was heated.
it felt really fast to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh
Because
my!
we actually stayed on time.
Well, I mean, I could have gone an hour on any one of those rounds, and I always love it when we say that at the end of a show. It's like I could just go back and just talk about 3 different aspects, you know, of estimates and unredacted invoices. And
Dude, we could have spent 3 hours on unredacted invoices.
I just think it's hysterical, and it's almost comical now when they ask me for them. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like I don't even know if I can get those. That's always my response first, is I don't even know if I can get those.
Oh, and I love how when they make the property owner responsible for getting those.
Yeah. Go talk to the drywall crew, because they have a point of sale system.
Yeah.
And get that receipt and itemization of all the material that they use printed out and brought, you know, and we'll get that and the final invoice they submit to your general contractor. Whatever.
Well, here's I hope that this doesn't get edited out, but with the unredacted invoices, hey, you guys, you know what's interesting is you guys went on out there, you sent out whoever you sent out, and they went ahead and banged some numbers into an estimating software, and well, where are your unredacted invoices for what you're setting this value at? Where are those at?
Yeah, exactly. It's like
it's just out of curiosity. Like you guys went out, you did the same exact thing. The only difference between what you did and what the insured did is that the insured's contractor, or us, however you want to put it, you're asking us to provide something you can't provide, and I don't understand that.
Right?
I don't get it. You can't provide unredacted invoices.
Well, and then the other side, it's like, and anytime you ask them for anything, it's all work product.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. It's work product. Why is it you can send me the estimate?
Well, their invoices are work
but you
product.
can't send me any evidence that supports your estimate.
Right.
It's like right here in your picture, you see right here behind the cat, that big, huge water stain right there in that picture that you took. You see that right there? Why wasn't that addressed? And that's the questions we ask, and that's why they don't send them or whatever. But guys, it is all the time that we have for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please click like and subscribe. And if you find this useful, please share it.
And let us know.
And let us know. We always want to hear your comments. I just want to remind you that you can find us on YouTube on the Pain of the Clay Presents channel. And you can catch us on just about anywhere you listen to podcasts. So whatever platform you need, you can find us on there. All you have to do is search the Pain of the Clay Presents. But in the meantime, guys, we will be back next week. So guys, stay ready so you don't have to get ready, and we will see you on the next one.
Hands on the hammer, ready to ram you like the fire slammer jammer. Yes, we're coming up, don't even try to diminish it. I won't start it, but I damn sure will finish it.
It's over. Go home.